Hi everyone. How you all doing? It's okay, I'll let you off. It's after lunch, so you're all settling in. As Jason said, my name is Sile Sibanda. I was one of the creatives involved in StoryTrails.
And I'm Gemma Thorpe. I was another creative involved in StoryTrails.
And StoryTrails was funded by UNBOXED 2022 and UKRI, and it was brought to life through 50 creative voices that were recruited, trained, and developed by Story Futures in partnership with David Olusoga and some of the best UK companies in immersive technologies. You can see some of them up there as well. Now, the vision was to reimagine, reinterpret, and reanimate untold stories from the past and present across 15 towns and cities in the UK. And one thing that was extremely important was that all of the creatives had a connection to each of the towns and cities that were chosen. And so this enabled the audiences to see their hometowns very differently, immersing them into local histories that they can touch, feel, and interpret with a new sense of local pride and connection to the place. So, in each town and city, there were free events in the local library, and each event had 3 experiences, which were 3D maps that were shown on a big screen. We also had AR trails that the audiences could walk on around the city, as well as VR experiences. Each one had 10, and the audiences could choose up to 1 and experience that. I'm going to let Gemma talk a bit about the AR trail.
Just going to skip through a few lovely photos. So for my work, I was one of the, sorry, I've got a really sore throat, a bit of Yorkshire baritone going on. I was one of the augmented reality trail makers, and I made a story about this amazing woman called Ethel Haythornthwaite, which is a great northern name. She was born in Sheffield, and the story is Ethel, the Green Queen of Sheffield. So my whole family's from Sheffield, but I'd never heard of her, so I was a bit sad that this amazing woman had never kind of crossed my path before. At the beginning of the work, we were encouraged to find a story that would really connect with people in the town that you're from. And I do feel that this story does that. Sheffield still kind of got this industrial heritage, and part of its identity is really heavily linked to that. My granny used to call it an ugly picture in a beautiful frame, because it's surrounded by this amazing countryside. It's full of parks, there's loads of trees, it's quite a healthy city. I think there is a real strong connection between Sheffielders and the outdoors, and that's what I wanted to celebrate. So through the research, I was brought to Ethel through the local archives, and some of her personal belongings, like her letters, her photographs, some of the documents, some of the booklets that she made, the books that she self-published, were only just going into the city archive. So we had the first look at this material, and we're able to bring it to life in a new way through the AR trail. So a quick run through of her history. She lost her first husband in World War I, and she's absolutely devastated, and took to the hills to kind of find healing. So she took to nature, and she saw all this beauty around her, but also saw how it was under threat. So she set up a charity in 1924, when most women couldn't even vote. So she was really quite forward-thinking. And she not only wanted to protect that countryside, she wanted to make sure that it was accessible for everybody, so that the average Sheffielder could go out at the weekends away from their dirty, grimy jobs and breathe in the fresh air. And she did this through some really pioneering ways. She was a crowdfunder, she was a curator, a campaigner, an influencer, so she was quite a trailblazer. And yeah, we brought her to life through the trail. So we'll just play a clip, and it shows you a bit of a walkthrough from what the audience saw.
Breathe in. Smells fresh, doesn't it? Sheffield's got some great big green lungs. But did you know 90 years ago, our city was known as Old Smoky? So who turned Sheffield from pea super to Peak District paradise? Introducing the extraordinary Ethel Haythornthwaite.
We are the greenest city in Europe. We have the most number of trees in the whole of Europe as a major city. And it was Ethel who laid the foundations of that. She strived to make Sheffield a big industrial city at that time, a better place to live for people.
Yeah, so a little quick insight into the trail. We had access to some amazing archive footage from the BBC and the BFI and the Yorkshire Film Archive as well, so we could kind of place the story in a bigger kind of national context, but also get really nice and local, and some of that footage at the end was from the Right to Roam protests in the 1930s as well. So people could interact with the film projections and with photographs and the 3D assets, and the one that we saw on the screen was something that Ethel did in real life. She gathered litter from the hills and marched back down to Sheffield and put it in an exhibition next to these beautiful photographs of the countryside. And she took it to this hall where the rich and the powerful went, and she just, showed them, this is what's happening, we need to look after the landscape. So she did experiential design in 1929, which is pretty amazing. And we recreated that through augmented reality, which was a nice way to kind of, play with the new technology and the old kind of great ways of thinking in the place where it happened as well. And it was, you may have guessed from the tone, it was quite a family-friendly sort of experience. We had all ranges that came to visit, lots of people from Sheffield and outside as well. My favourite moment was when I saw a little boy go through the portal which starts the trail, and he went, "There's Ethel," and ran towards her, and I was like, "Yes, this is amazing." So that was one of my highlights. The trail is also accessible. It did encourage walking, so you could do your own Ethel and march around and get some steps in, but you can do it at home as well. So the StoryTrails app is still available. You can experience it at home and access other stories from across the UK as well.
Yeah, so I highly recommend that you guys download the StoryTrails app afterwards, and you can also see the other cities and towns as well. So for some of us who weren't able to go to other places, you can see that, and you can go on our website as well. Now, for me, I did the 3D map of Sheffield, which was more of an emotional map of people that currently live in Sheffield now. I was celebrating the diversity and showing, what kind of place is Sheffield? Why do people want to come and live in Sheffield as well? And so I collected 30 different stories from different areas in Sheffield. And for each of the stories, I did some 3D scans using Scaniverse, where I scanned the person and the place they were talking about. And I also recorded some audio of them as well. When I recorded the audio, I worked with ISO, and they put it all together into this beautiful, beautiful 3D map, which I will show you guys now.
When I was a child, we'd often come to Sheffield, and coming to Sheffield was like always a big day out, because you were either seeing family, you were going to a park, you were going to a birthday, you were going to watch United, you were going shopping. One day we went into town, and we were in the Peace Gardens. We weren't doing anything amazing. I think we were having a meal deal from Boots. But just to be sat there, I just thought, what a place, what a city. And when I'm older, I want to live here. So this property came up, and I said to my mum, look, this looks ideal. She says, where is it? Arbourthorne. And we pulled up on the close here, and as soon as I got out, I looked over at the view, and I didn't need to look inside. I was like, this is it. It's just perfect. We live in a massive bowl, and I'm at the top of that bowl. So it feels like you're on top of the world, looking over the city. On the clear day, you can see as far as the furthest hill. Ever since I've moved in, I've had no problems. It's been the most lovely community. Everybody knows each other. Everybody says hello when you pass each other on the street. I love it. I wouldn't live anywhere else.
So that is just one example of the 30. That was Matt Weigold, and he was telling us about, the reasons why he loves Sheffield. And for me, what excited me and what I loved was the range of stories that I got to tell of Sheffield. I went from talking about the industrial side of Sheffield, the people that used to work in those industries that are coming out of date, to more of the young people, that go skating, and the reason why, they enjoy going to that skating park. And, I feel like I've connected to Sheffield a lot more through StoryTrails, so I thank you to them as well. So thank you so much for listening to our presentation. I do have to say that in Sheffield we had another a trail that was done by Iman. He's in the audience. Iman, give a little wave. So please do go and ask him about his trail. It was really beautiful as well. And these are some of the creatives, and they're also dotted around the room. So please say hello as well. Thank you.